So you can see what's back in the shop. This is Project X haul. It did not come with cruise control. I'm going to show you how I put cruise control on this truck that didn't come with it from the factory for 129 bucks. We're also going to be adding some pretty cool LED lights to the front for turn signals, so stick around. I'm JC Smith. I'm going to show you how I do it. So when U-Haul orders these trucks, they order them without cruise control. Okay, and cruise control on this GM would be in this turn signal switch. So what you do in order to do this is you have to remove this and change out the turn signal switch. This is a switch I buy. It's made by Standard Products, CBS 1452. I've done this a few times without problem. It's pretty simple. The hardest part probably is getting all the stuff off so that you can get to the screws. I try and do this. I don't know if I can do it. I can't remember now. It's been a little while, but you have to remove this plastic, and there's screws that hold that switch in there. So I've tried to do it without taking the wheel off, and I can't remember if I accomplished it or not. But that's what we're going to do next. All right, first thing you need is a T25 Torx bit. There's a couple screws right in here that hold this cover on. This has to come off. It just pops off. I have to be careful because this is an old truck, and these parts are not made anymore, and they like to break. So be gentle. You see the other one right in here. Guess I need to get a light so you guys can see a little better. Pretty simple. Then this cover comes out of here. That's all it is. After that's off, then these two can separate. Now, it's got a hook back in the back where they hook together, but it comes apart pretty easy. So now we need to take this top cover off. So we're going to be taking this screw out. This is a E5 inverted Torx. If I can get to the size here. Yeah, E5. Just take that loose, and that will let us get access underneath that cover. Difficult to see, but it's right up in here. And that is a second one. It is basically underneath here in this location right here. So, extension and an E5. Okay, that's out. Then this can come up. Now, this has a flange underneath it. Just like this bottom half, this flange here is inside the steering wheel here. So you have to kind of get it out of the way. Like so. See how it comes out like that? Now, if you want more room, you can take this out. If you don't care, you can work around it. I know a lot of guys, if you're trying to do this, you probably don't have the interest in dealing with the airbag, because if you're going to take the airbag off, we got to disconnect the battery, and we got to disconnect the airbag, and that's very scary to a lot of people. And if you don't know what you're doing, it could be bad. And then you have to pull the steering wheel, which requires a steering wheel puller. So what I've done is just go to, get your El Cheapo Torx bits, right? This is a T25, and all I've done is just tape it to a wrench, and it gives me enough room to get in here. And I thought it'd be better to show you how I do it without removing the wheel, even though I can remove the wheel and it'd be faster, but this might be more attractive to people trying to do this on their own. You can get this out. So now we just need to do the top one, which again, we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to come in here to the top screw. Let's see if I can get you a light in here. It is right there. So I'm just gonna get in here, and there it is, and take that loose. There we go. Now I'll just work that out. Once I get this one out, I'll show you where we go from here. Okay. Again, you could remove the steering wheel and make this faster, but I mean, if you're one of those guys that really doesn't want to mess with it, there you go. So we got a zip tie right here we need to cut loose, and then we have to get the switch unplugged down here. Okay, so these are the two wires that go up to the turn signal switch, and they're in this connector. But in order to take this connector apart, we have to take the center bolt loose, because that's what holds it together. And it's a 7mm. So as we take this loose, it'll let these two spread apart. So you can see you have this top one and this bottom one, and they're stuck in here. There's a little locking tab right there. So you just have to barely pry that over, and it goes over the locking tab and allows them to come out. See that little tab right there? It works against this lock right there. And then let's come up here. Pull this one out. We got one zip tie here on our airbag. Be careful not to cut the airbag wire. That would be very bad. Take the zip tie out. There we go. It's the old one. Here's our new one. And you can see there's a few more wires in this one than there was in that one. Keep this down in there. So, set this in place. We'll revisit this when we get the camera over here. There's something on here we need to address. This right here. So I'll show you that when we get the camera on this side. But right now, we need to bring the wires down, route them the same way so they don't interfere with anything, and then put these in. Attention, these will only go one way. See how we had color coded gray and black. Line this up just right. That's that. Now we can put this back into here. So the first thing you want to do when you're doing this is do not use that screw to pull it together. Push this in as far as it'll go so you know you're lined up, then run your screw in the center. Just snug. That's it. We'll get this zip tied back up. Right now we're going to get the switch in. So this tab right here has to go back on the back side of this. So you can't just shove it in this way. You have to kind of go back and then go into place. There we go. Slid in. So now we just need to tighten these up, put the factory screws back into place. Okay. Tuck that underneath the steering wheel, that collar I talked about earlier. Make sure our rubber boot is behind it. So you see that screw right there, that gold color one. This spacer, all right, threads up in there, and you'll see there's like a hex on this end. So it goes up in there like this, and then that screws into it, and that's what holds that together. So there's not a screw hole on the top. So you have to screw this into that. Once that's bottomed out, and we know it's tight in here, then we can tighten up the bottom inverted Torx bit. And then that makes that top cover tight. So we're hooked in there, almost. And this has to come forward. We'll hook that on. And then there's little tabs here you line up. Make sure you're right where it belongs. Like so. Same thing over here. Now we need to put our screws in. Yep. Everything's back together. Nice as it can be, I guess. And now we just have this bottom trim panel that goes in. I can never remember which way this goes. It goes like that, yeah. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Let's see if our turn signal still work and all that stuff. I still have to zip tie down below. Left turn, right turn, 4 ways, wipers, washers, play. Okay. I guess now we just need to take her for a drive. I gotta zip tie those wires up real quick though. C5500, C5500 in less than 30 minutes. So the next thing I want to do is put on some new turn signals, and I've been getting my lights from Parts Am for a couple years now, and they've shared a discount code for me to use, and I can share it with you guys so you can use it. I'll put it in the description, I'll put it here, but I needed to get some new lights, and I thought I'd like to have these LED turn signals instead of the standard incandescents. So we're going to get these things wired up as well. So you can see how these mount here. They got a big post in the center or two smallers. And the cool thing is, if you have a single post mount, you can just take these studs out and use a single post. And if you have a 3-post, well, you can use, or 2 posts, you can just use it like this, and then just use that one in the center to bring the wires through. I'm going to go with larger washers than what they sent because this is fiberglass, and I don't want it to crack, so I'm going to go with a larger flat washer here. I'm going to change that one out as well. So anybody that's watched me any amount of time knows that I solder, use deox on the solder joint, and put heat shrink over every connection I make that's outside of the vehicle. If it's inside the vehicle, I'll solder it and use heat shrink, maybe not deox, usually not necessary. I got one more to do here. Put the deox on while the solder's still a little warm. Heat this up till I see the adhesive come out of the ends of it. Once I see the adhesive come out, then I know that we're as far as we can go. Okay. See what I'm talking about right there? That's the adhesive. So, looks like I got a little ways more to go there. We don't have it yet. I need to change the angle of this and then heat these up real good and get them finished up. cut them off. I should have tested this before I buttoned it up, but fingers crossed it works okay, huh? So I caught my error. I wasn't paying attention and I had the wrong one on this side. This light was inside here, so I had to change that around, but I've got this one on too, and it's working like it should be. So now I'm just finished soldering everything. So I'm gonna put some deox on it and do some heat shrink, do some zip tie, and I think we're about done with this. Turn the markers and the turn signal or four-ways on. All that's working. I like that. That's gonna be nice and bright, especially if you're alongside the road somewhere. That's the idea. Whatever you can do to make it safer is better. Yeah, I like those. So the only thing that isn't LED is the headlights and the cab lights. And I know Parts Am makes some, I know they have the headlights, I think they have the cab lights, so maybe I'll look into that. If you are looking for these, I'll put a link in the description where you can get them. We have a discount code that they use for us. And if that helps you at all, these are SKU number 188303, whatever, turn signals. We also got this new switch panel here we're going to talk about in just a minute, because once we talk about what we got going on in the back of this truck, it'll make good sense. I have some plans for Project X-Haul, and it's going to require a lot of electrical to be controlled. So Parts Am came out with this new controller, which you guys may have seen this before. I've used their controller. It's the same thing. It's the same controller in a nice metal housing, and it's power on, backlit, change the colors. The controller itself can do several things. You can do a constant light where it stays on all the time. You can do a momentary mode where if you turn this on, as long as you're touching it, it's got light. You can do it where it is a flash mode. You turn it on, it starts flashing, so you know it's on. Or you can do strobe, where it's constantly strobing. The nice thing about these is this new one's come out that it is 100% wireless. You see this little port here, that is just for charging. It comes with this USB cord that you can plug into your 12-volt adapter and just keep it charged all the time. And you can take it outside the truck, and I think you can be about 150 feet if I read right, and you can control everything. So what's attracted to me is the upfit that I want to do. I'll be able to stand outside and run the winch in, run the winch out, lift, go up, go down, go in, go out, and then have light controls on the other side or whatever. I think I end up with 4 extra switches total for my plans. And then it comes in this mount here, which I really like because it's plastic and it doesn't rattle. It fits nice and snug in there. You get several mounting options here, and it comes with a swivel base, so you can mount that to whatever. And it comes with hardware, of course, too. So it gets paired with this unit here. So in order to control it, you get some battery cables, and then this is a 80 amp resettable circuit breaker that I had the cover off of and was looking at it. So if it trips, that comes out and you just reset it like so, and then this can go over it. I doubt we'll use this because in order to get this on, these little clips end up down below here, and if you need to take them off and to reset that, it's very difficult to get to that. So that's maybe a design change. They could come up with something different. It has protective boots over top of this, which is probably more than adequate. You need to mount this as close to the battery as possible so you can protect the cable from here to the battery, so you have overcurrent protection. If it gets cut, shorted, pulling too many amps, then it can, trip right here. It comes with these small cables, probably more than adequate for the amperage rating. It says it's good for 12 to 24 volts, 60 amp and 80 amp respectively. And you see here there's a negative and a positive, because in here you'll run each cable in here, and then it allows you a total of 12 circuits, just like the controller has. Another nice feature is, since you're bringing positive and negative in here, this is a control board that needs a ground. It also lets you use your cabling to terminate your grounds. So each one of these circuits, as you see, has a positive and negative. Now, when you get it, if you buy one of these, be mindful of your fuses as they come in. You can see here it's a 10 amp. Well, unfortunately, that's a 30. They've got them backwards. This side over here, the circuits go the other way. So the 10 amp is correct to be here, so is the 15, the 20, and the 230s. But if you look, they just match colors, and it needs to be the opposite over here. So now, this is not a weather tight plug, so this will be mounting inside a toolbox somewhere, but it leaves you access to bring your cabling in both sides and it be protected. So you have this plug here. If you want to be able to run this off of accessory only and not just straight battery power, you can flip the switch and use this pigtail, plug it in, and run it to an accessory circuit, meaning it only turns on when the key is turned on, so you're not killing your battery, which I like a lot. So here's the hookup for the little antenna with double-sided sticky tape. We'll be putting this inside a toolbox so that it can be protected as much as possible, and we'll get it up high. This is the button for pairing, and this is if you want to tie into your existing fuse box, tag off it with another power line. I won't be using this. I'll find a circuit to tie into that actually energizes this, because it won't take much just to excite it and turn it on, let it know it's time to work. But it comes with all these different switch covers, the push button covers that you put in here, and they're nice and thick, so they'll last a long time, you know, and a lot of different options for it. We'll probably be using like these, up, down, left and right, these up and downs too. We might use that. So a really neat system that'll make wiring a lot easier, because now we don't have to run all those wires into the cab. They can go into the toolbox, which is, you know, they're on the back end of the truck. This may not be out yet, but it's getting close to being released. But we're going to be using it on Project X-Haul, because we have a lot of stuff to control. So I'll let you know what we think of it, but it's the same thing we had before, only there's no communication cable here, and that makes us be able to go outside the truck, which I really, really like. So look forward to that. I'm going to show you what the truck looks like now with all of the LED lights lit up at nighttime. It is impressive how bright everything is. Some bright lights. That's just marker lights. That's brake lights. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to have a lot more coming on this truck and this build, so it'll be part of the same X-Haul build series. So I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am, and catch you on the next one.